मित्रों नमस्कार। आप सभी को सादर नमस्कार। सबसे पहले आप सबों से ये क्षमा चाहता हूं कि दृष्टि टॉक्स पर चल रहे राष्ट्रीय विमर्श के कार्यक्रम को लगभग 1 महीने से 11 जनवरी को इसका एक कार्यक्रम हुआ था और उसके बाद व्यक्तिगत अव्यवस्थाओं के कारण हम इसको लाइव नहीं कर पाए थे। पिछले सप्ताह इस देश के बहुत ही प्रसिद्ध पत्रकार, लेखक और विचारक श्रीमान प्रदीप पंडित जी ने अपनी सहमति व्यक्त की थी और उनकी सहमति के बाद उन्होंने अपना प्रोफाइल और फोटो भी भेजा था। लेकिन साथ ही उन्होंने यह भी बात कही थी कि वो एक शादी में होंगे और हम जुड़ेंगे जरूर, इस पर बात भी करेंगे। लेकिन अभी जब बात हुई तो उन्होंने अपनी असमर्थता जाहिर की। तो फिर हम और विवेकानंद जी ने मिलकर के ये निश्चित किया कि चूंकि कार्यक्रम अनाउंस है तो जो विषय निर्धारित है उस विषय पर आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी से समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। मौलिक बात यह है कि लगभग 550 वर्ष पहले आध्यात्मिक पुस्तक लिखने वाला निहायत ही आध्यात्मिक आदमी, जो आध्यात्मिक चेतना से ऊर्ध्वगामी होकर के क्षेत्रीय भाषा में, अवधि में बहुत सारे तथ्यों को लेकर के लिखा। मैं अपने को रामचरितमानस के ऊपर बातचीत करने के लिए बहुत सक्षम व्यक्ति तो नहीं मानता, लेकिन सोशियो पॉलिटिकल इफेक्ट पर हम लोग चर्चा करेंगे। रामचरितमानस के 2 पहलू हैं। एक तो उसके आध्यात्मिक पहलू जो भक्तिवाद को लेकर चलता है, दूसरा उसका साहित्यिक पहलू। लेकिन अभी ये दोनों पहलू पर विवाद नहीं है। अभी जो विवाद है वो मौलिक रूप से उसके सामाजिक और राजनीतिक स्थिति पर विवाद है। और ये दोनों विवाद आखिर इस समय में क्यों है, तो उस विवाद के सूत्रपात करने वाले बिहार के शिक्षा मंत्री के द्वारा नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय के सेंट्रल हॉल में दीक्षांत समारोह में एक चौपाई पर अपनी बात रखी थी और उनका ये मानना है कि ये चौपाई महिलाओं का और बाकी लोगों को अपमानित करता है, उसे मारने की बात करता है। इसलिए उन्होंने बड़े कड़े शब्दों में ये बात कही कि हम इसको स्वीकार नहीं करते। फिर उसी में एक विनय पत्र का अंश है। अब अजब सी बात है, और इस घटना के बाद जब यह एक राजनीतिक विचारों में एक नैरेटिव के रूप में खबरों में जगह पाई, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया ने इसे जब अपनी खबर बनाई, तो फिर राजनीति में कमतर सक्रिय लोगों ने भी और अपने को रामचरितमानस के झांपे में रख करके आगे की ओर बढ़ाने वाले लोगों ने भी एक नई चेतना के साथ फिर से रामचरितमानस का हवन किया, रामचरितमानस को ही हवन कर दिया, उसको ही जला डाला। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में 2 बातें दिमाग में आई। पहली बात तो यह कि आखिर रामचरितमानस पर विवाद क्यों, क्योंकि करोड़ों लोगों का, मैंने गीता गोरखपुर प्रेस के साइट पे जाकर के देखा तो मैं खुद भी स्तब्ध था कि रामचरितमानस की हिंदी का अंक, जबकि जानकारी के लिए हम सबको पता है कि रामचरितमानस का इस देश के शेड्यूल 8 में जितनी भी भाषाएं हैं, उन सभी भाषाओं में उसका रूपांतरण है और सभी भाषाओं में रामचरितमानस का हूबहू वैसा ही संस्करण बाजार में उपलब्ध है, उर्दू तक में है। अब यहाँ समस्या ये है, इस 79 करोड़ प्रति रामचरितमानस की बाजार में बिकी पड़ी है, तो इसके सामाजिक और राजनीतिक चेतना पर होने वाले असर को लेकर के हमने बातचीत की योजना बनाई और उस योजना के तहत रामचरितमानस और आध्यात्मिक पक्ष को लिखने वाले एक व्यक्ति को हमने आमंत्रित किया। तो ठीक है, संयोग है, आगे से इस बात का ध्यान रखेंगे कि इतने गंभीर लोगों को जो बातचीत में सहभागी ना हो सके, उनसे पूरी तरह पुख्ता तहकीकात कर लेंगे, तब फिर आगे की बातचीत में रखेंगे। तो जब ये सूचना मिली तो मैंने आदरणीय श्री विवेकानंद जी को, आप सभी परिचित हैं विवेकानंद जी से, जो हमारे कार्यक्रम में विश्लेषक के रूप में उपलब्ध रहते हैं, मैंने आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी से निवेदन किया कि आप व्यक्तिगत स्तर पर रामचरितमानस के इस विवाद को कैसे देखते हैं और इसका आने वाले 2024 के चुनाव पर क्या कोई इम्पैक्ट होगा, या जो लोग ये कहते हैं कि रामचरितमानस का ये अंश विवादित है, उस पर क्या कोई समझ क्लियर हो सकती है हम लोगों की, कि क्या गोस्वामी जी वैसा ही कुछ कहना चाहते हैं। तो इसी विषय पर आज का ये अंक हमने ये निश्चित किया है कि ये 15 से 20 मिनट का होगा और इसे हम 30 मिनट के अंदर अंदर उपसंहार कर देंगे। इसलिए आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी से मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगा कि विवेकानंद जी, आप बताएं कि क्या रामचरितमानस जो है वो वास्तविकता में वो चौपाई जो है जिसका अर्थ लोग समझ रहे हैं वही है या कुछ अलग
है? बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपके व्यूअर्स को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। आदरणीय प्रमोद जी ने जब मुझे आज ऐसा कहा, द मोमेंट Sri Pramod ji informed me that our very august guest who was supposed to have adorned our dais, or who supposed to have been showcased for our today's program, was was conspicuous by his absence because of his other preoccupations or whatever might have been the reason for the same. As you very correctly said, we together decided that instead of scuttling the program in totality, why not, let us participate in our own ways and try to discuss and reach to a particular consensus, on this very, very important point, because a controversy, unnecessarily though, has been sought to be stirred upon, which has, of course, a political overtone. It might not over political as well as social overtones. That cannot be denied, because the very purpose of stirring this very controversy has the political objective, political as well as social objectives behind stirring this very controversy. Let us try to discuss, before I switch over to discussing its political as well as social implications, it would be very pertinent for me to just throw some searchlight into the very, the altruism or the altruistic aspects and dimensions of that of this great epic called Ramcharitmanas. My dear viewers, you all would appreciate that Ramayana, which was written by Tulsidas ji, Goswami Tulsidas ji, which has been the brand ambassador, or you can say a harbinger of a new dawn in Bharat Varsha. Because at that point in time, as our very, as Sri Pramod ji very correctly articulates, that, it was in the geographical boundary. This Ramayana was written almost 500 years back, when India did not exist the way it exists today. It was the erstwhile Bharat Barsha, and we can say that it was geographical boundary of India, where Goswami Tulsidas ji had penned such a great epic, which became immortal even during his lifetime, and much even centuries after he had gone. It has left an indelible impression, upon the generations and generations of humanity born not only across India, but in the different parts of the world. Now, my dear viewers, the moment I am emphasizing upon this very important terminology, that is different parts of the world, I must tell you why I am, why I have used this particular word, why I have uttered this particular word, that is different, this particular sentence, the different parts of the world. Because let me share with you a very important fact that a couple of years ago, I wrote a very important book called Indian Diaspora, along with that of an American author who came to meet me in Delhi. And in the wake of our discussions, I just began researching on Indian diaspora, the every ins and outs of Indian diaspora. And I must tell you, I am privileged to share this piece of information with Sri Pramodji, and through Sri Pramodji to all our viewers, that I was wonderstruck by the very important fact that when the indentured labor were taken out of India by the British colonial power, and they went to different parts of the world, like Trinidad, Suriname, and so many different, Mauritius. They were taken to different parts of the world, different parts of the world. Now, when they began their journey out of India, they took, by way of what you can say a legacy, they carried Ramcharitramanas with them. And the same Ramcharitramanas, which was written by Sri Goswami Tulsidas ji. And again, it gives me a greater pleasure to share with you this very important piece of information, that when they took Ramcharitmanas with them, in exotic countries, in the exotic land, where the land which was absolutely unknown to them, they were strangers to that the very land, because they usually were taken as a laborer in the sugarcane factories around the world. So what they would do, during their off time, means I'm trying to say that beyond their working hours, they would sit with Ramcharitmanas and recite the stanzas of Ramcharitmanas by way of, you can say, by way of their devotion to Lord Sri Ram, or by way of their hobbies, because they had nothing to do apart from their working hours, which they spent inside the factory. So what they would do, beyond the factory hours, so by way of a preoccupation, by way of nurturing that particular hobby, they would read Ramcharitramanas. So, my dear viewers, when Pramodji asked me this question about Ramcharitramanas, an instant recollection of that very important fact just struck my mind, that how those indentured labor, when they were virtually forced to leave their country on account of dangling of the carrots by their colonial masters, then they had nothing to carry with them. So they thought of carrying Ramcharitramanas by way of a priceless legacy of their own country, of Bharat Varsha, their own ancestors. So that was the gravity of Ramcharitramanas, which they carried with themselves, when they left India for an unknown nation or for an unknown place. So that there lies the gravity of Ramcharitmanas. Why now the very important question arises: why did they carry only Ramcharitmanas with them? Why not Bhagavad Gita? Why not any other any other scripture? Why there was a particular emphasis only on Ramcharitmanas, and why not on Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture or any other book per se? The reason or the rationale behind the same happens to be this. Ramcharitmanas has been written in with such simplicity and with such lucidity that became, that was comprehensible even to the semi-literates and illiterate people. That was the primary, you can say, the prima facie rationale behind carrying Ramcharitmanas and not any other form of scripture. Because the simplicity of the language of Ramayana, becomes apparent to one and all. Let me share with you, Pramod.
सर आपका आपका वॉल्यूम आपका म्यूट हो गया सर, माइक। सर आपका माइक म्यूट हो गया। सर विवेकानंद जी आपका माइक म्यूट हो गया है। विवेकानंद जी आपका माइक अनम्यूट करिए।
So over and over again, my mother had read Ramcharitmanas, and when I was growing up in Calcutta, at that point in time, even during my juvenile days, I would see my mother reciting the verses of Ramayana, and even in my juvenile period, I could recite so many verses of Ramayana without even having an insight into it. So that is the beauty, or you can say the beatific, or the glory of Ramayana, the beatific aspects and dimensions of Ramayana, which becomes comprehensible to one and all. That is why I use the very important word literate and semi-literates. Means I beg your pardon, the semi-literates and illiterates. I did not even say illiterate people. So even to these community of people who has a minimum education, he or she can easily access Ramayana, because the language of Ramayana has been is Avadi. Tulsidas ji wrote Ramayana in Avadi language. And my dear viewers, in this very context, I would like to make it absolutely clear here, that great Vidyapati, a poet of poets who hails from Mithila region, was instrumental behind the evolution of such great poets or great writers like Tulsidas ji, like Kabir Das ji, like Surdas ji, like Mirabai, and so many subsequent poets. Even great Rabindranath Tagore, he also pays a glowing tribute to Vidyapati ji, because Vidyapati ji's linguistic style was instrumental behind the coming into existence of that of Ramcharitmanas and so many different poetries and poems over a period of time. So coming to now, returning to the glory of Ramayana, you can that is what I was trying to explain through my own level of understanding, and that too on account of the research I carried on at that point in time for writing a book on diaspora, that the overall, or you can say an overwhelming importance of Ramcharitmanas. So by giving through this anecdote, I try to explain that its significance even to those indentured labor who were taken out of India centuries ago. So there lies, through this anecdote, the very objective behind my explaining you, or behind my impressing this fact upon all of you, the overall importance of that of Ramayana. And now I'm coming to a very important observation of that of Swami Vivekananda, who great Rishi Aurobindo had dubbed as the collective consciousness of Bharatvarsha. Because Swami Vivekananda had emphasized upon Lord Sri Ram as the raison d'etre and shammam bonum of that of Bharatvarsha. And he says, go to the farthest part of India and you see a farmer plowing the land. You speak to him about Lord Sri Ram, and instantly he would reckon with Sri Ram. He would recognize the Maryada Purushottam. There lies the overall, gravity of that of Lord Sri Ram, whom Swami Vivekananda considers to be the soul of Bharat Varsha. So now you can well understand the overall importance and significance of Lord Sri Ram, both especially from the social perspective and even from the political perspective. We all should understand that when our constitution was developed, when our constitution was written, and the Nandalal Bose, Sri Nandalal Bose, who was invited from Santiniketan to come over to Delhi for paintings and even for the calligraphy. Because let me share with you, Sri Pramodji, especially to all your viewers, I would like to inform that it is the only constitution in the world. Our constitution is the solitary constitution in the world which is actually being calligraphed, where which is a product of calligraphy. It is not written through pen or it is not printed in any form, but it is being calligraphed. So that is also another feather to our constitution. And this is what I wanted to say. So when Nandalal Bose was given the responsibility of painting different photographs and all that, just to embellish our constitution, there Lord Sri Ram's photograph was painted along with that of Lord Sri Krishna, great Sankaracharya, and so many great iconic figures. Their photographs were painted. Our photographs basically were framed, and they were attached with that of the pages of the constitution. But as the time passed, because of some mischievous reason, those photographs were actually removed from the pages of the constitution. And who did it, at whose behest it was done, nobody knows it, because this was, as I already said, it happened through some sort of mischief. It happened on account of certain design, because the people who were ruling the nation then, they never wanted even the remnants of trace of Hinduism, or you can say erstwhile Bharat Barsha, to remain an integral part of our constitution. So that was the region. I'm coming to the political side. The political trajectory that nation has traversed ever since its independence. So since after having explained you the overall implication of Ramayana, Ramcharitramanas, from the social perspective, I am just trying to put emphasis on that of it's a political implication, its overall emphasis upon politics, and how the politics traveled through, or how the politics traverse its own distance, and its relationship vis-a-vis that of Ramayana, Ramcharitramanas. So as I was trying to share with you that how, because of certain design, the very photographs of that of Maryada Purushottam, Sri Ram, and Sri Krishna, and other great iconic figures of this country were removed from the constitution. So the very purpose or intention was to show that in fact India, the independent India, had no inextricable linkage with that of Bharat Barsha. That was the prima facie intention, or you can say some sort of deliberate mischief, which was orchestrated to sequester this independent India from that of its moorings, because India's moorings lay in the erstwhile Bharat Barsha. But the deliberate design or ploy was to sequester in this independent India from that of its erstwhile Bharat Barsha, the roots of erstwhile Bharat Barsha. So now coming to the very important point that but nevertheless, you see, even though there was a deliberate ploy, there was means deliberate design to to you can say sequester, or to separate this India from that of Bharat Varsha, or that of its roots in Hinduism. People of India, they never, even for a second, forgot their very roots, forgot their very moorings. which were inextricably linked with that of Bharatvarsha. Never for even few minutes did people of India forget that Sri Ram, the Maryada Purushottam, was the iconic figure of this country. He was the raison d'etre and summum bonum of this very India, the independent India. And that is why Sri Ram became the binding force behind, even behind this independent India. So even, as people considered Lord Sri Ram as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and he was an object of veneration, he was an object of, worship across the length and width of India. So even the politicians or the political class cannot think of detaching itself from that of Sri Ram. But as in our country, the so-called bogus and preposterous secularism, took seize of the national mind space. That is, it almost ruled over that of national mind space. So they tried to soft pedal the overall importance of Lord Sri Ram by propagating their own concept, their own doctrine of so-called secularism. And therefore, even though Lord Sri Ram was worshipped virtually across the nation, but nevertheless, there was, a diabolical agenda was very much institutionalized in politics to relegate Lord Sri Ram to, I wouldn't say to the periphery, but still to, he was relegated to, to an inconsequential stage. And that is why you all would appreciate that how much time the nation took in terms of recovering the Ram Lala temple today, the grand Ram Lala temple, which is in the process of its reconstruction because of the pioneering efforts of Lal Krishna Advani ji. My dear viewers, I keep on emphasizing on this very important fact that Ram Lala Mandir was, actually it was a brainchild of Sri Lal Krishna Advani, of course, with the collaboration of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. But the credit of this Ram Lala temple, which is very much on the anvil, it should go to Lal Krishna Advani ji. And today, actually the purpose of telling you all that was when secular India was in the grip of so-called secularism. Ram Lala, although he remained an object of veneration, object of worship in every household, but from the political landscape, he was almost, evicted, or he was almost, you can say, almost being neglected until and unless there was a renaissance, a social renaissance. And social renaissance almost transformed itself into that of a political renaissance. When Sri Lal Krishna Advani undertook that Rath Yatra across the nation to awaken the sense of nationalism. And the sense of that nationalism, the object, or you can say the pivot around that sense of nationalism was none but that of Lord Sri Ram. And you would appreciate when Mandal Commission, was brought in by Biswanath Pratap Singh, the then Prime Minister of India, which was very divisive in its very nature, which sought to divide the society, Hindu society once again, which had almost taken the society to the brink of, you can say, brink of a social cauldron, or a social turmoil. It was only that Ram Janmabhoomi, that movement of Ram Janmabhoomi, spearheaded by Sri Lal Krishna Advani, which brought the national attention and subsequent national concentration on its very raison d'etre and summum bonum, that is Lord Sri Ram. And you would appreciate how Biswanath Pratap Singh lost the confidence vote on account of Ram versus, Miss Mandal versus Kamandal. That was the slogan at that point in time. But it was Lord Sri Ram who triumphed over all such social divisive state, which is ostensible, in all these so-called Mandal Commission report, which was implemented by Vishwanath Pratap Singh. Because India cannot think of separating itself from that of its icon or that of its, raison d'etre, that is Lord Sri Ram. Now, even during the Mandal Commission, that is, even during Lord Sri Ram Janmabhoomi movement, which was the nationalistic expression, which was the expression of the soul of Bharat Varsha. The situation, BJP's overall, BJP's growth traces its origin to that of Ram Janmabhoomi. And once, there was, the BJP was ascendant in the polity on account of that very nationalistic movement which it spearheaded, that is Ram Janmabhoomi. Slowly and gradually, Sri Ram began to ascend even in the political landscape of Bharat Varsha. And then Sri Ram, almost from the religious and spiritual angle, he became a part of political expression. As BJP, you would appreciate how BJP, made Lord Sri Ram, its slogan. That is, we all know Jai Sri Ram. It has become BJP's slogan, which I think is not correct. Because Lord Sri Ram is an object of veneration, object of worship for the entire nation. And to appropriate Lord Sri Ram for attaining a particular political vision, that is absolutely undesirable or even unwarranted. So the degeneration of Lord Sri Ram into some sort of political sloganeering was absolutely undesirable. But nevertheless, the point here is to say that when Lord Sri Ram became a slogan of a particular political party, which is ruling today, in Delhi, or which is ruling the central government today, other regional political parties and other political parties, which finds themselves dwarfed by that of the ascendancy of BJP in the political landscape of the nation, they feel that, Lord Sri Ram has become such a great political slogan for BJP that, that they cannot match BJP's strength. Because Lord Sri Ram, being the icon of the nation, if a particular political party has hijacked him, then it would be really challenging for any other political party to even stand before it. So the regional political parties, they began reflecting on it, that how to counter BJP's political sloganeering of that of Jai Sri Ram. So why I say all that? Because I'm tracing the genesis of this current controversy with that of BJP's appropriation of the slogan of Jai Sri Ram. So they thought, these political parties thought, that when BJP is seeking the consolidation of Hindus around the pivot of Jai Sri Ram, so in order to combat their very vital and potent weapon of mobilizing the nation around Lord Sri Ram, there can be only a single alternative to it, or a single alternative to it, that is to once again divide to divide or to stifle the sort of consolidation of Hindus. Because only if you can think of making a dent into that consolidation, the BJP's overall vote share will decline. And that is the reason behind stirring up this political controversy today surrounding Lord Sri Ram. It is not that there has been a desecration of Lord Sri Ram. No, it is all because of tackling or combating the political sloganeering of BJP, that this controversy on Lord Sri Ram, on Ramcharitamanas, is sought to be stirred, because social restructuring or social re-engineering, the opportunity of social re-engineering is being looked upon by the opposition because they think that if this, if this Hindu consolidation can be broken in any ways, then BJP can be emasculated, BJP can be weakened, and therefore this very consolidation of Hindus around the pivot of Lord Sri Ram, if that has to be weakened, if that has to be emasculated, if that has to be stifled, then the consolidation of Hindus is to be broken, is to be weakened, and that is the reason behind this current controversy. Now I'm coming to a very important point. Why you raised in the very important question, why the education minister of Bihar, when he criticized, Goswami Tulsidaji for that very verse, that is, that what you mentioned, Nari Sudra Pasunari, all that.
Sudra Pasunari.
The reason is very Tulsidaji never said that animals and women, are they deserve to be flogged, they deserve to be assaulted. All these Tulsidaji never said, but still, this such an interpretation is given to all that. It is only because the very root cause or the pivot of Jai Sri Ram being the slogan of BJP, these opposition parties they are desperate to break the stranglehold of BJP over Hindus. And that is why they want the churning out of Hindus once again. Social re-engineering is thought to be a very potent weapon in the hands of these regional leaders, that if somehow this consolidation can be broken, if somehow this consolidation can be eliminated, or if, then obviously BJP at the national level can be weakened. And this is the reason, because you would see that Mayawati, who is a leader of Dalits, she did not react. She was almost silent for so many days together. But only after Akhilesh Yadav had extended his staunch support in Uttar Pradesh to his own minister, to his own leader, who came up with a scathing criticism of Ramayana, only then he maintained a stony silence. He did not criticize his own leader, because he also is looking for an opportunity for social re-engineering yet again, so that BJP's overwhelming dominance upon that of Hindus can be given a decent burial, or can be lessened, can be can be lessened, and and thereby the overall BJP's vote bank or voting share can be reduced substantially. That is the main reason behind stirring of this so-called controversy on Ramcharitmanas. This is what exactly is my belief, and so that is what I was telling you, that Mayawati maintained a stony silence, but the moment she sensed that Akhilesh Yadav ji was trying to make an inroad into her vote bank, she instantly protested, and then she said that no, all these are bogus, baseless things. Because all these regional political parties are only looking upon the vast chunk of Hindutva vote bank. Hindus' consolidation behind BJP is a major threat for the extinction of all these regional parties. And that is why their main lookout is to break that particular stranglehold, is to break that consolidation. And this controversy, the stirring of this controversy, has to be seen against that very backdrop. This is what I had to say on your question. Thank you, Pramod ji.
Thank you. आपने समग्रता में चीजों को रखा, और कमोबेश लोगों की समझ भी यही कहती है, और आपने उसको और भी स्पष्ट कर दिया। मैं समझता हूं इतनी छोटी से उपलब्धि के लिए इतने बड़े आदर्श को टार्निश करना किसी देश के इतिहास में अच्छा नहीं होता है, और फिर वैसे लोगों के द्वारा जो एक जिम्मेदार संवैधानिक पदों पर हों या जन सामान्य के प्रतिनिधित्व करने का आकांक्षा रखते हों, या अपेक्षा रखते। लेकिन भारत है, भारतीय लोकतंत्र है, यहाँ की अपनी एक मर्यादा है। फिर भी यह बात समझ लेनी चाहिए कि रामचरितमानस एक ऐसा अद्भुत प्रकार का ग्रंथ है, जिस ग्रंथ ने करोड़ों करोड़ लोगों को एक दिशा दी। और वो दिशा केवल स्त्री या पुरुष को नहीं, शूद्र या ब्राह्मणों को नहीं, वो दिशा किसी विशेष समुदाय को नहीं, किसी विशेष वर्ग को नहीं, अपितु संपूर्ण संसार के जीव मात्र को दिया। इसीलिए गोस्वामी जी ने लिखा कि जलचर थलचर नभचर नाना। उन्होंने जितने भी हैं जलचर थलचर नभचर, ये सारे चीज को उन्होंने जीव जगत जही बनाना। और फिर उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि सिया राम मैं सब जग जानी, करहूं प्रणाम जोर जुग पानी। तो जो उनके मौलिक चिंतन के तत्व थे, उन तत्वों को छोड़कर किसी एक सामान्य ऐसे तत्वों को जो किसी दूसरे संदर्भों में कहा गया हो, समुद्र के मुख से कहलाया गया हो, या किसी संदर्भ में बात कही गई हो और 500 वर्ष पूर्व कही गई हो, उसको लेकर के इस तरह के विवादों को जन्म देना और उस विवादों से देश के ऊपर एक नए प्रकार की आक्रामकता को थोपना और फिर दूसरे समुदाय के लोगों को प्रेरित करना, ये सर्वथा निंदनीय है। लेकिन मैं एक बात को लेकर आश्चर्यचकित हूँ। मुझे लगता है कि आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी भी मेरी बातों से सहमति रखेंगे कि यदि यही बात आस्था के बिंदुओं पर और पुस्तकों पर होनी है, तो दुनिया में बहुत सारे ऐसे पंथ और संप्रदाय हैं जिनके पुस्तकों के ऊपर एक शब्द कह देना पूरी सरकार और पूरी व्यवस्थाओं के लिए एक घातक बन जाता है। लेकिन इतने लंबे समय से ये विवाद चल रहा है, लेकिन सरकार के किसी महकमे ने, किसी न्यायालय ने, किसी व्यवस्था ने कभी भी यह सोचने की जरूरत महसूस नहीं की कि आखिर ऐसा करने वाले लोगों के लिए क्या अपने वैधानिक स्तरों पर किसी प्रकार की कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की जा सकती है। और यदि ये कार्रवाई नहीं की जा सकती है, तो देश को बताया जाना चाहिए कि ऐसा क्यों क्यों क्योंकि करोड़ों वर्षों का एक स्वरूप, जिस मर्यादा दशरथ नंदन राम को मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम राम और ब्रह्म के रूप में स्थापित करने वाले एक व्यक्तित्व पे, उनके शब्दों को आप एक तरफ तो सम्मान करते हैं और फिर उस पर दूसरे शब्दों को विचार के लिए रखते हैं, ये बड़े असावधान सी बात हो जाती है। मैं समझता हूँ कि आज के अंक के लिए इतना ही बहुत है। फिर इसी विषय को लेकर के और एक विश्लेषणात्मक टिप्पणी को लेकर के हम जल्द ही हाजिर होंगे। मिलते हैं। आज के लिए नमस्कार। आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं? जी जरूर कहें।
Pramod ji, I'm sorry for this interruption, but I would definitely like to emphasize on this point that the politics should not be mixed with religion. Even BJP, just so far as the liberation of Ramlala temple is concerned, to that extent spearheading a national movement was concerned, it could be justified. But then appropriating the name of Lord Sri Ram and just utilizing it for political purpose, even BJP has made a mockery of the name of Lord Sri Ram. Because if when Lord Sri Ram is a Maryada Purushottam, he is the nation's soul of Bharat Barsha, then why you are mixing, using Lord Sri Ram in politics? Because you have developed a particular slogan, Jai Sri Ram. Why not Jai Siya Ram? You have completely omitted the reference of Sita ji. If you are worshipping Lord Sri Ram, why not you worship Mother Sita?
सर, आपके जैसे विद्वान लोगों के सामने क्षमा पूर्वक मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, जैसे ही जय और श्री आएगा तो श्री इटसेल्फ इज सीता। श्री शब्दकोश में सीता के लिए श्री लक्ष्मी और सीता का बीज मंत्र है, इसीलिए राम कभी सीता के बगैर रह ही नहीं सकते। इसलिए ये जय सिया राम कहें या श्री सीताराम कहें या श्री राम कहें, सीता तीनों में उपलब्ध है। इसलिए ये बात नहीं हो सकती। हाँ, आपकी दूसरी बात बहुत श्रेष्ठ है। तो उस मामले में यह है कि स्पष्टीकरण जो भी हो, एक हिंदू होने का गर्व अनुभव करने के लिए जय श्री सीताराम, राम राम जी, श्री जय श्री राम, ये शब्दावलियां यदि प्रचलित हैं और लोगों के बीच हैं, तो कोई कह सकता है व्यक्ति के नाते। राजनीतिक स्लोगन तो ये है नहीं। वो राजनीति में, जिस राजनीतिक पार्टी में जो व्यक्ति है, यदि वो इस तरह की अटरिंग अपने व्यक्तिगत कैपेसिटी से करता है तो उसे करना चाहिए, क्योंकि वह उसकी आस्था का विषय है। और मैं समझता हूं कि बीजेपी का कोई एज सच रिटन स्लोगन नहीं है जय श्री राम जी।
No, Pramod, here, even though I agree with you partially, but I beg to differ on this very important aspect when you say that it is not a political slogan. I am sorry to say that Vijay, it has been elevated, to the level of being a political slogan today. Because BJ, you see, whenever Mr. Modi goes or wherever BJP's, functions or party conventions, all that take place, the very slogan they greet Mr. Modi with is that of Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram. So Jai Sri Ram has been expediently transformed into that of a political sloganeering that cannot be denied, Pramod ji.
हाँ, ये ठीक है, आप जो कह रहे हैं बुद्धिजीवी वर्गों में ये माना जा सकता है, लेकिन मैं इसके दूसरे अंशों पर बड़ी विनम्रता से क्षमा पूर्वक आपसे निवेदन करता हूं कि देखिए, आपकी आस्था है, मेरी आस्था है, तो वैसे ही जो प्रधानमंत्री के पद पर बैठा हुआ व्यक्ति है उसकी भी आस्था है। यदि वो सनातन होने के नाते और प्रभु श्री राम को जय कहते हैं, तो मैं केवल इतनी बात कह रहा हूं कि ये बीजेपी ऐसा पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का कोई रिटन स्लोगन नहीं है, लेकिन उसमें रहने वाले लोगों की आस्था है। तो कांग्रेस के जैसे पूर्व अध्यक्ष ने और अभी वर्तमान के व्यक्तित्व ने जो भारत जोड़ रहे थे, श्रीमान राहुल जी, उनको भी स्वतंत्रता है। उन्हें किसने रोका है कि आप सियाराम मत बोलिए, जय श्री राम नहीं बोलिए? या कम्युनिस्ट के लोगों को किसने रोका है? सीताराम येचुरी को किसने रोका है? या मुलायम सिंह यादव को किसने रोका है? या अद्दुद्दीन ओवैसी को किसने रोका है? हिम्मत से उनकी आस्था है तो वो खड़े हो गए, अल्लाह वो अकबर करते हैं कि नहीं करते, असदुल्ला करते हैं कि नहीं करते? वो तो व्यक्तिगत उनको प्रेरोगेटिव है संविधान के धाराओं के तहत। इसलिए मैं ये मानता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी या राष्ट्रपति जी या गृह मंत्री जी या कोई भी कैबिनेट का आदमी या चीफ सेक्रेटरी भी कहे जय श्री राम, तो इसमें कोई बुराई नहीं। इसलिए नहीं बुराई है कि मेरी आस्था है। अब ये पार्टी का स्लोगन बन चुका है, ये एक परसेप्शन है, ये फैक्ट नहीं है। अब परसेप्शन जो बना दिया गया है उसी को काउंटर किया गया ना। राहुल जी कहीं मीटिंग में गए थे और प्रेस को बोले, उनका कहना था राहुल जी का कि लोग जय श्री राम क्यों बोलते हैं, सिया राम क्यों नहीं बोलते हैं? भाई, जय श्री राम के संबंध में आप सामान्य सा शब्दकोश उठा के देख लो। श्री का अर्थ क्या होता है? श्री का सीधा अर्थ होता है सीता, श्री का सीधा अर्थ है लक्ष्मी, श्री का सीधा अर्थ होता है ऐश्वर्य, वैभव। तो वो उसके बगैर कोई भी पुरुष नहीं है। किसी को आप श्री या श्री के साथ मति भी लगाते हैं, श्रीमती, श्रीमान, ऐसा करके, तो ठीक है। जो शब्दों के अर्थ निकलते हैं ये संस्कृत के भाषाई सौंदर्य का मर्यादा है। लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी मैं ये मानता हूं कि आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी का जो पॉइंट है वो बहुत ही वैलिड पॉइंट है और मैं उससे सहमत हूँ। लोगों का परसेप्शन है, लोग ये मानते हैं, लोगों का ये सोचना है कि भाई इस तरह से हो रहा है। लेकिन मैं ये नहीं कहता हूं कि लोग ऐसा माने तो हम अपने ही करनी को छोड़ दें। मैं ऐसा नहीं मानता। जो लोग मानते हो मानते हो। ठीक है विवेकानंद जी, तो आज के लिए और कुछ कहना है आपको?
नहीं, मैं आपकी इनफैक्ट आई एम वेरी मच इन एग्रीमेंट विथ यू, but still I would say, I have a rider attached to your observation that, so long as you have a worshipful adoration for Lord Sri Ram, it is absolutely justifiable. Because I already said that I do fundamentally subscribe to the belief of great Swami Vivekananda that Lord Sri Ram is the soul of Bharatvarsha. And he is an object of veneration and worshipful adoration for every single citizen of this country. Even Alra Kalam had dubbed Lord Sri Ram as Imam-e-Hind. So there is no denying the fact that Lord Sri Ram is the raison d'etre and summum bonum of Bharat Varsha. But at the same time, I would say that due to some political expediency, a particular political party has adopted this clarion, this slogan as a clarion call for mobilizing the people for its own electoral dividend. That is why this opposition today is reacting so staunchly. Otherwise, they too have a full adoration for Lord Sri Ram, binding force of Bharat Basa. All I have to submit.
अच्छी बात है और आपकी बात भी बहुत सहमत के योग्य है, लेकिन मैं एक बात जानना चाहता हूं कि आजादी के 75 वर्षों के बाद इस देश के बहुसंख्यक समाज का जो आस्था का केंद्र है, वह यदि उसके राजनीतिक लोग इस बात का भरोसा दिलाते हैं कि मैं भी उनके साथ हूं, तो इसमें बुराई क्या है? भाई क्यों नहीं कांग्रेस दिला रही है? दिलाए, कौन मना किया है? किसने मना किया उसे? वो उस पर लगाएगी तो बीजेपी यदि क्लेम करे उस समय कि तुम क्यों लगा रहे हो, मेरा है, तो गलत है। और आप देखिए पिछले दिनों में, पिछले चुनाव में आपने अनुभव किया होगा कि इससे पूर्व सभी नेता हर एक रोजा पार्टी में और अन्य जगहों पर जाके स्कल्प कैप लगाते थे। अभी तो सभी मंदिर जा रहे हैं बड़े बड़े माला लेकर के, त्रिपुंड लगा कर।
That was, of course, patently wrong. I am not. That too was patently wrong, because India, as I said, and I am duplicating my observation, Lord Sri Ram is a Maryada Purushottam. He is the soul of India. But to reduce him, to politicking or to mobilize the people for the purpose of electoral dividend, that is patently wrong. Even if you are giving a slogan of Allahu Akbar or any other slogan, say for the sake of political mobilization, that is patently wrong, because Lord Sri Ram is above all these politics. He is the soul of Bharat Varsha. This is what I have to say.
उससे थैंक यू, उससे असहमति नहीं है। मित्रों, आज की बातचीत को श्रीमान विवेकानंद जी, आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी ने बहुत ही सुंदर ढंग से उनके मन की आशंकाओं को रखते हुए जो चीजें रखी, उसके लिए वो निश्चय ही साधुवाद के पात्र हैं। और आपको यह कैसा लगा जरूर बताइएगा। और आप सबों के लिए फिर से प्रयास पूर्वक इस राष्ट्रीय विमर्श को की नियमितता का ध्यान रखते हुए अगले अंक में हम लखनऊ से श्रीमती सुनीता आयरन जी को आमंत्रित कर रहे हैं भारतीय सनातन व्यवस्था पर, भारतीय सनातन व्यवस्था की अद्भुत शैली पर और उसके आगामी चुनाव में उसके आने वाले इम्पैक्ट पर। आप सबों का आपने बहुत ही 1 घंटे का समय दिया। आप सबों का बहुत बहुत आभार। आपसे एक विनम्र प्रार्थना है कि यदि हम दोनों मिलकर एक अच्छी चर्चा कर रहे हों तो आप हमारे चैनल के साथ जुड़े, हमें अपने अनुभव बताएं, अपने सलाह भेजें, ताकि हम उन विषयों को लेकर के आपके सामने उपस्थित हो सकें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।